undercooked meat, and you may be infected by a tapeworm of the genus Taenia. Get infected twice, and that's Taeniae, plural. Because of Scrabble's tile distributions, 12 E's, 9 A's, etc., Taeniae is the single most likely 7-letter word you can draw to start a game. In this video, I present the 50 likeliest starting bingos as found on loveandscience.com. But I will seriate them not in order of likelihood, but thematically. First, some everyday words. We'll do these as a game. See if you can unscramble them before the time's up, using the example sentence and picture cues to help. The retiree took up Scrabble. The trainee didn't know the produce code for plums. The teenage boy ate pizza like a mutant turtle. I went to the store earlier. You need a seatbelt because of inertia. When your car stops, you keep going. The software developer knew to iterate, releasing new versions almost every week. The groundskeeper aerates the soccer field every month. He aerated it just yesterday. The next bunch are normal words, but bearing suffixes they don't normally have. Prince Rupert is much rainier than Prince Albert. The Forbidden Forest is eeriest at night. My 2-year-old is needier than my newborn. When she moved to the city, she became leerier of strangers. The alternate spelling, leerier, is actually also on the list, tied for 50th with its anagram earlier. Ready, get set, go! Timmy lost the race because Tommy was readier. Call the Midwife leaves me tearier than any other show. That was the cue for the actor to re-enter stage left. Weighing only a gram, the pen is teenier than the sword. Which one is eensier, an itsy-bitsy spider or an eensy-weensy spider? These last two sound really unnatural on the tongue. I found Arizona's landscape very strange, but Iceland is even aliener. I took a minimum wage clerical job as a data enterer. As silly as enterer sounds, it's actually used seriously in Buddhism. Someone who has entered the first stage of enlightenment is a sotapanna, which is often translated as stream enterer. Now we move to the academic words. Many of these may be new to you, but still try to guess the letter order before the big reveal. I took geology in university, so I'm excited to report that 6 of the 50 likeliest bingos are geology terms. Geologists distinguish between fluvial sediments, carried by water, and aeolian sediments blown in by the wind. Arenos means sandy. Arenos soil is unsuitable for most agriculture. Geologists subdivide sedimentary rocks by grain size. Coarse-grained rudite, fine-grained lutite, and in the middle with sand-sized grains, arenite. Syenite, with a Y, is an uncommon igneous rock that has little or no quartz but is otherwise like granite. It is named for Syene, the former name of Aswan, Egypt. The variant spelling with the I is less common, everywhere except Scrabble. Anything with lines, but especially a nice rock, may be described as lineate. The aforementioned tapeworm Tania takes its name from the Greek for ribbon, because tapeworms are shaped like ribbons. Geologists noticed that meteorites composed of the iron-nickel alloy camosite have ribbons of a different iron-nickel alloy running through them, which they named taenite. 7 of the top 50 are biology words. Every suckling babe knows these body parts. Areolae. And speaking of suckling babes, one less than a month old is a neonate. The parts at the backs of your eyeballs sensitive to light are the retinae. One of the 4 nitrogenous bases that encode genetic information in DNA is adenine. If you travel to Nigeria, do not eat the seed of the calabar bean. Poison, I tell you. They are also called ordeal seeds because they were historically given to suspected witches in the belief that anyone innocent would survive the ordeal. The toxic ingredient of the calabar beans is cygostigmine, also called esserine. This is an enation, a leaf-like structure that occurs normally on plants called whisk ferns, and on other plants only as a symptom of disease. Roseate just means rose-colored, i.e. pink. Pink birds include the roseate spoonbill and roseate tern. There are 3 musical terms. In opera, an aria is a solo. In French opera, a funny little solo song. Is an ariette. In Italian opera, the same thing is an arietta. As I age, my singing voice may become increasingly high-pitched, thin, and unpleasant. That is, readier. There are 2 art terms, both loanwords from French. An artist's workshop, particularly one where models pose nude, is an atelier. This is an étagère, which in French means any shelf, but in English means a very fancy ornamental shelf. There are 2 legal terms. The U.S. Declaration of Independence famously mentions inalienable rights, meaning rights that cannot be taken away. In law, alienable property is property that can be legally transferred. The recipient is the alienee. The word éloigne means to remove something or someone from a jurisdiction. It notably occurs in South Carolina's 1852 Declaration of Secession. Non-slaveholding states have permitted open establishment among them of societies whose avowed object is to disturb the peace and to elloign the property of the citizens of other states. They have encouraged and assisted thousands of our slaves to leave their homes. So, a conductor on the Underground Railroad, like Harriet Tubman, was an elloigner. Right between alienee and elloigner, we crossed a threshold from academic to archaic. These next words are no longer in wide use if they ever were. Air radio is a defunct system for communication between planes and the ground. Here is an article about it from the Gander Airport Historical Society. They capitalize it though, which would make it forbidden in Scrabble. Some aviators must not have done so. Some old-fashioned Brits still call an airport an aerodrome, and a few of them may spell airy as airy, with an E. Therefore, the most ethereal ferry is the airiest, but the most ethereal ferry is the airiest. Something that lasts a long time, like an eon or aeon, is aeonian. Aureate can literally mean golden, or can figuratively mean grandiloquent. The politician stood in the aureate ballroom and gave an aureate speech lacking in specifics. Aneared is an archaic word for came close, approached. The plague aneared the kingdom. Terrene is a poetic synonym of terrestrial. It's found in Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra. Alack, our terrene moon is now eclipsed. Switch those last two letters and you have terrene, which is just an old spelling of Turin. When you go clubbing, you probably call the venue a nightclub. But if it's 1935 and you've just come from an eatery, you might use the term nightery. And if you're very weird, you might spell it nightery. Then there are two words that are in contemporary use, but only in a specific region. Ornery means cantankerous worldwide. In the southern U.S., they drop the first R from the pronunciation and sometimes the spelling, making onery. Therefore, one cranky southerner may be onerier than another. An Etesian wind is a strong north summer wind on the Aegean Sea. The last word of the video is pure pretension, like writing utilize instead of use. It means to arrange in an order, and I said it at the beginning of this video. Seriate. Here is another use in a pretentious lesson plan. Children will seriate the sticks from shortest to longest, then from thinnest to thickest. And that's the top 50 words to know to bingo. Extremely keen observers of the video may have noticed that a few of the words are anagrams of each other. As a final review, see if you can list all of the words you can make from these racks. Bye-bye now.